There are quite a few animes with silly titles I see on the internet from time to time, but the one that I decided to give a shot is My Little Sister Can't Be This Cute. And look, this doesn't sound so bad, right? Could be a cute show about cute girls doing cute things, but that's not why I chose this one. I'm here for the brain-rotted characters that have been mad at for being so brain-rotted. I'm here to see some disgusting actions that I would only expect to see in anime, and I'm here for a car crash of emotions. Well, that's what I hoped for. Onii-chan. This guy's name is Kyosuke, but for the sake of simplicity, and only for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to refer to him as Onii-chan.
Hey, yo, don't, no.
Okay, maybe that's too much. Aniki. I'm going to call him Aniki. We see Aniki at school talking to his childhood friend
Most have normal life and I
Right, you want to hear about his little sister who can't be this cute. Aniki returns home and greets his sister.
ただいま。
あっちの方が
She ignores him. After taking a drink, he leaves the package on the table, but soon realizes his mistake and goes back to kitchen. Oh yeah, they definitely don't get along with each other. But it's too early to blame any of them for that. Aniki sees some box on the floor, picks it up and realizes that what's inside this anime Blu-ray box is not actually an anime, but a Make a Love with Little Sister limited first edition? Lucky me. I'm about to... Aniki does not want to be caught with something like this in his possession, so he decides to use some deductive skills of his and quickly figures out who the real owner is. Here we get to see their actual interaction for the first time. Aniki returns DVD to his sister, Kirino, and that's it. He doesn't ridicule or lecture her for having some weird game, he just tells her to throw it away for him. I don't know if it was a lack of care or genuine you do you mentality, but this gesture gets into sister's head and she decides to show him her true self. Nope, we are not getting freaky just yet. She's a closet otaku. That's fine, right? Most of the anime and games that she enjoys are about little sisters. That's fine, right? Those games are 18+, so-called Eroge. I had no idea what Eroge meant, but at least within this anime, we're talking about 18+ light novels about brother and his little sisters falling in love. That's fun! Okay, people have their own fantasies or fetishes, and I don't judge usually. But this particular case is something I would definitely call weird. The only reason for that is you don't have to tell your older brother that you love Eroge with little sisters, while being a little sister yourself. Luckily, Aniki is not the one to judge either.
妹が好きで妹もののエロゲーを買ってるんだな。タイはないんだな。
After hearing Kirino out, he assures his sister that it's okay and he'll help keeping this hobby of hers a secret. Aniki goes back to sleep wondering, why would she even tell him about all this? Wakey wakey, we're not done yet.
続き
Okay, she didn't say that. Kirino wants to play Eroge with her brother so she can hear his opinion on it. She wants someone to talk to about something she enjoys. It can't be her friends, they're not like that. It can't be her parents. Do I have to explain this one? And that's why she decides to open up to her older brother, which I certainly think is fine. That's what siblings are for. Kirino made her brother play these indecent games, but he was not enjoying them. And after counseling with childhood friend Manami, Aniki introduces his sister to online communities, where you can meet people with the same interests as you. After receiving a message from community moderator inviting her to a tea party, she decides to go. She just joined, by the way. After Kirino geeks out about Akihabara, she and Kyosuke go to a meeting place which happens to be a maid cafe. Now let me tell you, I could never go in such an establishment. I'm just not like that. I don't want these cute girls in maid dresses calling me master or Onii-chan. Otaku Girls Unite community finally meets up, but Kirino is not having a good time. Girls seem to be avoiding her, even though she was acting like she always does.
いつも通りにやったのにどうして避けられるわけ？
At the time, I didn't understand what she meant by that, because we didn't get to see a lot of their interaction, but in retrospect she was probably her usual infuriating brat.
それにその喋り方と格好何年前のキモオタだよって感じ。
Yeah, that's why. Saori, the moderator, was so sweet and kind that she decided to gather people who didn't get to talk much because she wanted to deepen their friendship. But these two, they got so lucky to meet Saori that is going to be a glue to keep this friend group together. Kuroneko and Kiririn are always arguing. Their every argument comes down to... And Saori is always there to calm them down, because at the end of the day, she's having fun with these two. This episode ended with the most authentic and relatable feeling ever. Kyosuke finally beat the Siscon game and I was really happy that he did it. Until moments later, he realizes that he beat a Siscon game and now he's really happy that he did it. It seems like it all works out and the siblings can live their lives at their own pace like they used to. Kirino is working as a model, studying in school, doing some sports, and just being the center of attention and adoration everywhere she goes. And Kyosuke is spending his quiet, regular life going to school, studying with Manami, who's clearly in love with him, and being neglected by his parents.
俺はどこ行ったか聞かれないんだ。
Okay, maybe neglected is a strong word. They probably just let him be while prioritizing their daughter. But something extremely unexpected, or should I even say unfathomable, happens. Father finds out that his daughter is an otaku. Kirino truly loves her hobby and everything else that makes her her. She can't give up any of those things.
学校やモデルで頑張るのもアニメやゲームに夢中になるのも両方が私なの。
So Aniki decides to take the matter in his own hands and has a very emotional discussion with his father. That honestly was amazing. Hey father, I know this whole little sister Eroge station is kinda weird and not gonna lie pretty kinky. But can you please let it slide this once? I'm trying to hit. Huh, you're my rival then, huh? Every argument that was brought up both from son and the father had a real meaning and weight behind it. It was a real argument of two real people. They were sound about every point despite Aniki being quite passionate in the moment. It was great until...
だからこれは俺のなんだ。エロゲは俺の魂なんだよ。
Aniki is a great brother that put a lot of thought into convincing his parents that this side of Kirino is important. He's even done too much if you ask me. But it worked out, and he got recognized for it.
ねえ。
あ
ありがとね、兄貴。
I'm trying to hit. Kirino's non-otaku friends come over, talk about whatever, and in the meantime, Kyosuke plays a fighting game where practical naked little sister fights another practical naked little sister. Wow. Still better than League though, but it couldn't be so chill forever. Package from Saori gets delivered and it looks like a bunch of cool cosmetics or something. Unfortunately, what's inside has nothing to do with cosmetics at all, so this whole anime misunderstanding moment plays out that ends up with... Wait, actually, I want to point out this moment.
He pulled the trigger. Weave.
That was clean, bro. He dodged the bullet. For the last time. And then... Now Aniki is seen as a big perv by this little shit. But this girl, Ayase, happened to be a normal sentient human being and understood the situation. After a nice little chat, they exchanged their phone numbers. Kirino, being childish as she is, blames Aniki and now has to take responsibility for embarrassing her.
あんた、みんなの前で私に恥かかせた責任取りなさい。
Our little otaku friend group, like true otakus they are, decided to go to summer Comiket. They truly enjoyed their time together and even had this cute moment where Kureneko won the prize for Kirino that she couldn't win herself. Even though it was never explained how Kureneko is so good at that little sister fighting game. What do you know, huh? It was a very fun day for them and it had to be ruined by Ayase.
キリノ！
At first, it's a normal random encounter of friends, but Ayase starts to suspect something bad. It's okay though, we're living.
待って、私が嘘つかれるの大嫌いだって。
She went from a worried friend to Yunagasai real quick. I thought she was mental for a second, but then she got to know that her friend is something completely horrible.
私、あなたとは今後お付き合いできません。もう学校でも話しかけないでくださいね。
Damn, that's tough.
勘違いしないでよ。あなたのために調べたんじゃないわ。
After several days, Aniki decides to check on Kirino and it quickly escalates into a huge fight. At this point I have to notice how good arguments are in this anime, because whenever an important emotional confrontation comes around, it's always as real and humane as the show can get. No bullshit, real people with real thoughts and emotions. I'm not saying that they're deep, but they're as deep as teenage kids usually go. Wait, that sounded... During this encounter there was a phrase that caught my attention.
さあほったらかしにしといて。今さら歩きずらすんだ。
Is it actually true? I don't know. We didn't get to know much more about their childhood in this season, but if that's the case, I wouldn't be that angry at Kirino for treating her brother so poorly. Although I can now justify her beating up Kyosuke. Every time that happens, I want to kill her. At the end, Kirino tells her brother to... Guess what? Take responsibility.
最後まで責任取ってよ。
Kyosuke decides to talk with Ayase on the phone about her and Kirino making up. I know I just talked about arguments being handled really well in this anime, and I'm going to talk even more about it. This conversation was not so much an argument, but Ayase explained her views on otaku and this hobby of her friend, and she was spitting. Ayase is pretty narrow-minded when it comes to this topic, but whatever reason she has, they make sense. I have to clarify, Ayase is not against otaku in general, but against this genre of games and anime. And I agree that these stories that revolve around doing indecent things to little girls are disgusting, and I wouldn't want my friend to be into stuff like that. But the way she goes about it is completely wrong.
ああいうのやめようって、全部捨てて忘れようって絶対嫌って言ったんですよ。それって私よりもあんな趣味の方が大事ってことでしょ。
And now Aniki has to... that's going to sound ridiculous. Onii-chan has to convince Ayase that his little sister enjoying Eroge with little sisters falling in love with their Onii-chan is fine. I wouldn't be able to do that. But Kyosuke has a genius plan in mind. After trying to talk some sense into Ayase, he fails to do so and Ayase goes mental again.
あんなの偽物。返して。私の親友を。本物のキリノを返してよ。
Ayase only wants good parts of her friend. Model? Hell yeah. Honor student? Hell yeah. Loved by everyone? Hell yeah. Super perfect, super cool, super Oh, shut up.
それが本物の私。そう、それがキリノでしょ。
Kirino puts her heart on display for her friend to see and understand her feelings, but no cigar. Okay, time to use a secret weapon. I'm the pervert, all this time it was me all alone. Once again, Aniki takes this humiliation upon himself and his little sister is saved. Let's go. I guess we take it. That's a dub, right? That's a dub. Aniki is at school talking to Manmi about the upcoming Halloween fair at her family's store, and then Aniki's classmate Akagi asks him about their relationship with Manami. Aniki brings up some confusing example.
例えばお前に優しいおばあちゃんがいたとし、そのおばあちゃんがな、ある日魔法で一気に50歳ぐらい若返ったとしたらだ。
Would. That's all I'm saying. Would. But that and the fact that they're 17 and not 15 aside, he's basically saying that they're not dating and he's not planning to. So Akagi, clearly interested in Manami, asks one more question.
例えば田村さんに言い寄る男がいたとしてもお前は構わないっての？
Pretty simple question with a straightforward answer.
なんだそのファンタスティックなやつはぶっ飛ばすよ。
Yeah, we're getting baited hard, I think. This episode is called My Childhood Friend Can't Be This Cute. But aren't we supposed to be a good Onii-chan to our little sister who can't be this cute? Come on now. In this episode we get to see more of Manami and her family, so there was not much about little girls. But I'm still gonna talk a little about it. I enjoyed the vibe of it. Here's a quick edit of their family. Manami and her family are preparing for Halloween fair with American style sweets, and Kyosuke came by to try some of those. Yeah, she's ass, also to help out with preparations. While he's there, Manami's Gramps and Granny make fun of these two, implying that they should get together and stuff like that.
お前らさっさと結婚しろよ。
おじいちゃん。
おじいさんもたまにはいいことおっしゃいますね。
お熱いよ、お二人さん。
古いですよ、おじいさん。
Usually, I hate moments like this in anime, but everything about this episode was so lighthearted that I didn't mind it and even liked it. It was even funny, or rather cute type of funny at times. Like when Manami couldn't say what grandparents told her out loud.
おじいちゃんのおばあちゃんもおじいちゃんがおばあ。
わかった。
Or when Manami was trying to troll Kyosuke, but instead of getting flustered, which I would expect from him seeing this anime, he turned the table like a true gigachat, and I respect that.
じゃあ一緒に入る？きょうちゃん顔真っ赤。
よーし、じゃあ一緒に入るか。
あんちゃん、それでこそ男だ。
そうだろそうだろ。
おー、かっけー。
さあ行こうぜマナミ。俺のハイパー兵器を見せてやる。
After a long day, Aniki was invited to sleep over, like they used to when they were little kids. But it wasn't so simple, there was a surprise waiting for him. Kyosuke and Manmi ended up sleeping in the same room, because grandparents planned it out.
Right, that's crazy. They ought to be ashamed of themselves.
But they didn't do anything indecent, just had a little endearing conversation about their past and the future, and went to sleep. That was nice, I'm not gonna lie. And throughout the episode, we saw many times how Kirina was kinda mad and even jealous that her Onii-chan was spending so much time with his female friend. That's not a good sign if you ask me. You know what also is not a good sign? Ghost lolly girl being R-worded and killed. I didn't know how to pivot, sorry.
挙句の果てに明らかに私がモデルであろうゴスロリ女が凌辱されて死んだわ。
That's a plot point in novel that Kirino wrote. You know what this story is about? Come on. Of course, it's about little sisters. And by the way, her novel is getting published, like officially published. She got reached out by some editor who told her,
この話じゃ読者が感情移入しづらいって。でも妹に対する愛情はそれを補ってあまりある。溢れてる。だって。
Pages, that's concerning. That's not a good look for otakus, and I'm happy that it's not a trend right now. Now Kirina needs to do some research for her next novel, which is more of the same, but now instead of being placed in space, it's a post-apocalyptic Tokyo. In another instance of Kyosuke having to take responsibility, Kirina drags him with her to help. But the only thing he gets to do is either
あんた、ちょっとあそこの真ん中行って暴走した車にひかれてきて。
or
とにかくあんた、これ買って。
Huh? How much? Yen to USD in... Wait, draw nice more. Yen to USD in 2012. Let's see... 30,000. Why? Why would I buy this?
こういうのがいざという時の心の支えになったりするのよ。好きな人にもらったら当然っしょ。
No, bro, don't do it! Aniki lets his tongue loose and says some harsh things about Kirino's novel. And to prove him wrong,
ストーリーだってギャルゲーとエロゲーの延長なんだから、秀才なんざわざわざ。
we pour a bucket of water on ourselves and get into a love hotel. It was a plot point in her next novel. Basically, she was trying to say that her novel is important and she works hard to make it the best she can.
じゃあ、キリノちゃんとクリスマスデートなの？
This Christmas Eve date comes to an end and we're hit with...
だが、その時俺は、それからあんなことが起ころうとは、これっぽっちも思っちゃいなかった。
I surely hope it's nothing. It was a bait. Kirino's novels getting adapted into anime, and as naive and excited little girl she is, she comes up with a lot of ideas for the adaptation. Voice actors, art directors, character designers, it's all planned out for her perfect anime. Hell, it even has different openings and endings for every episode. 52 songs in total.
What the fuck? This freaking
The stupid bitch. Oh, poor little bitch. The stupid freaking little bitch. But her ideas are quickly getting turned down by people who would actually work on the adaptation, for obvious and adequate reasons. All the people you want to get involved because they have home schedules. 52 songs in 5 months until anime airs. Let's focus more on the actual content. You thought it was going to have 26 episodes? I'm sorry, but you only made 1 volume so far, so it will only get 13 episodes.
Also, can we change your main character to a male protagonist? Because you know, they're smarter,
Funnier, sexier, and just better overall.
No Diddy.
No Diddy. No Diddy. Yeah. Needless to say, Kirino was destroyed. Aniki couldn't sit straight seeing his little sister depressed, so he, alongside Saori and Kuroneko, go into another Meetup's production team to try to convince them to follow Kirino's ideas. It's silly, straight up silly. Seeing these kids trying to persuade professionals and to put more effort into creating this anime is extremely silly. It shouldn't work like this, and it is unrealistic. But if you think about it, what else can they do? They can only try their best for the sake of sister or a friend. Look, they've got production team to accept most of Kirino's ideas, and that's improbable, I know. Despite that fact, I enjoyed Aniki and Kuroneko fighting over Kirino's work in their own ways. Kuroneko figures that this person from production has written novels himself, and they haven't sold even tenths of what Kirino's work did. Kuroneko herself was studying for years to write better novels and was applying them to publishers. She openly accepted that she is jealous of that annoying woman who deserves to suffer more. But their pride and jealousy shouldn't hinder the success of another inspiring author. Not gonna lie, she cooked that dude.
Light work, no reaction.
After hearing all that, Aniki realized he has also wondered why Zevry's novels goes perfectly for his sister. Why does everyone loves her? Why does she get all the attention? He caught himself feeling relieved seeing Kirino depressed. But at the end of the day, he is her older brother, and so he begs for production to take Kirino's ideas into consideration. She is a little kid after all, who's always enjoying anime that these people work passionately for. Envy is a feeling that can be very off-putting at times. Yet there is something very endearing about Kyosuke and Kuroneko accepting this feeling they have and putting it to the side for the sake of Kirino. Next episode was very chill. Nothing of importance happened, and we got to see a regular weekend life from perspective of several characters. Aniki was listening to music, talking to friends, and studying.
Moshi, どうしたの？突然。
Oh, my bad.
Kirino was playing new Eroge all day long, very much enjoying herself.
そっか。勉強するときは集中するために電源切るんだ。リンクちゃん。
And the highlight of this episode for me was seeing Kuroneko spend her day at home. Exceptionally cozy vibes. She was eating tangerines, watching her little sister, sewing some dolls, and immersing in some fantasies of hers.
あなたこそそろそろ高校。
Also, we caught glimpses of Saori's other side.
もしかしてこの人が闇の世界の住人ですか？違うわ。その人は私たちと同じ世界に住む友達よ。
New mission. Get a gift for Kirino. Remember Aisa? She asked Aniki for help with choosing a gift.
Wanna break from the ads?
You know what? This was not an important episode. There were just two moments that stood out to me. Aisa channeling her inner Yor to land this nasty kick on Kyosuke. And this little piece of shit, that other friend of Kirino, absolutely destroying this kid's image of their beloved Miruto.
メルルがダークウィッチになっちゃったよ。キモいんだよ。クソガキうぜえ。
On to the next one. Aniki stumbles upon Manami in the store and asks if she could come over to cook something for him and his sister because their parents are out. And you know what? That's nice having your friend over to cook together, have a nice meal and just hang out. But Kirino turns into a D1 Manami hater for no reason.
キリノちゃん、こんにちは。私のこと覚えてる？昔はよく。どちら様ですか？
This sweet soul just came by to cook for you and you're hating? You're evil! Kirino was not fond of Manami throughout the series, but here now she went overboard.
そんじゃさ、ご飯の前にまずリビング掃除してよ。
おい、何偉そうに。
任せてください。
Why is she acting like that towards Aniki's friend when Aniki made everything he can for her and her friend to make up?
じゃああんた、私が彼氏リビングに連れ込んで、エッチしててもいいっての？
She's jealous. I feel like those Eroge are finally getting to her. This demon in human disguise has even set traps for Aniki. She even used some Valorant traps from your bronze lobbies like, bro, go throw smokes on B, we're gonna shift towards A and push together. Not only you got A side, but Smoker had the spike and planted on B.
お兄ちゃんはね、妹にしか浴場しない変態さんなんだよ。
But they got a Smurf in their team and he clutched.
これからはお兄ちゃんって呼んだ方がいい？
Aniki comes to a party in celebration of Kirino's novel getting an anime and witnesses some weird stuff like this. Or this. Or this. At its end, this whole party was made so Kirino would be able to apologize to her brother. Apologize for what exactly? I was really confused when Kyosuke started talking about him being depressed because of Kirino and something about Manami.
俺はさ、お前のおかげでこの間からずっと落ち込んでんだよ。別にマナミに茶化されたりはしてねえよ。
Turns out, she's apologizing for the way she was behaving that day with Manami. And so you understand my confusion, that day when Manami came over was literally just before this party thing in anime. There was no depression or whatever, this whole apologizing thing was not built up at all, it was out of nowhere. It's probably the worst change of pace this anime has presented so far. But even then...
この前はごめんなさい。いつもありがとう。あんたいなかったら絶対お父さん説得できなかったし、綾瀬とも仲直りできなかったし、こいつらとも会えなかった。
This moment when Kirino says out loud that she appreciates all the things that Aniki has done to her was pretty sweet, and I can't put it into words, but I felt this. Kyosuke crying here was not some anime drama bullshit, it felt very personal and of the heart.
なのに、どうしてか涙が。
By the way, what did Kirino give to Aniki?
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man.
それを私だと思って大事にしなさいよね。
All of a sudden, Kirino is acting very polite, not talking back or kicking Aniki for no reason, even offers him a bowl of rice. She seems completely off to the eyes of Kyosuke. In the evening, Kirino invites him to her room and still acts strangely. Something's up, but we don't know what exactly. Eventually, Kirino cheers up and asks Aniki for a favor. There's a game coming out as some midnight sale and she wants to play it as soon as possible. Aniki is clearly not a fan of the idea until he hears the title of the game.
お兄ちゃんのパンツなんか絶対盗んでないんだからね。
Yeah, I think Kuroneko was on to something. Damn, that's hype. Okay, he obviously never thought that, but he agrees to help her out. Kyosuke goes to the sale where he meets his friend Akagi, the one who was asking about Manami previously.
最後尾ってここですか？
そうっすよ。
They both understand that they both have their own reasons for being here and agree on never bringing it up. Yeah, friendship is such a
お
beautiful
もげ部
thing.
予約済みの方はこちらに列を作ってください。あ、はーい。へえ、お前は重大な誤解をしているぞ。話を聞け。俺の目見ろ。気つけるな。
Well, I'm just gonna say I died in this moment. You can interpret it however you want. While waiting for Kosuke to get home, Kirina gets a call from Kuroneko asking a simple question.
前に言ったでしょ、あなたの分の猫耳作ってあげるから、さっさとその大きく丸い頭のサイズを教えなさいな。
That was hilarious. That's probably the coldest underhanded insult I've ever heard. Also, Kuroneko hints at something.
兄さんもよくあなたの傍若無人に付き合っているものね。
うるさい。っていうかあんたその呼び方やめてくんない？
まあいいわ、そのうち呼び方は変わるから。
Wonder what she means by that. Aniki comes home and after getting her long-awaited game, Kirina doesn't want to let him go. They play this Eroge that Aniki just bought, and after that, his little sister asks for another life counseling. Oh yeah, I have forgotten to mention life counselings. Basically, every time Kirina wants to discuss something with Kosuke, it's considered a life counseling, and Aniki is taking responsibility for it. It is her way of asking him for help. She wants to tell him something very badly, but just can't bring herself to. Kirina brings out an album from her closet. Kosuke agrees to look into it, but Kirina backtracks and doesn't let him. After a little quarrel, we see a plane ticket to America. Kosuke's little sister leaves for track coaching in the morning and not coming back until high school. She got scouted during summer training camp and was saving up money from her modeling and book to go there. Kosuke is not happy about it, and despite his sister clearly wanting him to stop her, he tells her to go. I'm not gonna lie, I really like this protagonist. Throughout the series that's called My Little Sister Can't Be This Cute, Kosuke hasn't done anything stupid that any other MC would do. He doesn't piss me off in the least and actually seems like a chill guy. Unfortunately, Kirina, being the little girl she is, cannot handle her emotions and beats the hell out of her brother.
なんだよてめえ。俺にどうしろって言うんだよ。
行くなって言ってよ、お兄ちゃん。
行けよ。せいせいすら。
That was brutal, and I wasn't even mad. This whole encounter is just sad, from both perspectives. Kosuke doesn't want his sister to leave, but knows that there is no real reason for him to stop her. And at the end of the day, she's not dying, she'll be back in a few years. And Kirina doesn't want to leave, but can't find any reason to not go, so she was hoping for her Onii-chan to stop her. Can't blame her either. Next morning, Aniki comes down, his face magically fine and all the bruises are gone, but that doesn't matter, because something crazy is about to happen. Kirina comes into the room and her mother goes,
おはよう。
飛行機何時だっけ？
What time is your flight? 14-year-old daughter of mine that's leaving for America for around 2 years.
Are you serious right now, bro?
What time is your flight again? Bro, I fucking lost it at this moment. How do you not know this? I wouldn't be surprised if when Kirina would leave she'd say, see ya, or peace out dude. This is the single stupidest line in this anime, and there were quite a bit of those. But whatever, Kirina decided not to leave and everyone is happy. Why did she decide not to leave? Well, it doesn't really matter, because all the excuses that she has are just excuses. She didn't want to go. That's the real reason. And that's reason enough if you ask me. I finished watching first season being very satisfied with this anime. I truly did not expect it to be so decent. No, not even decent, good. I didn't expect it to be so good. It was fun, it has great MC, it evoked some healthy hatred in me, and I was really surprised with the lack of fan service.
I like 15-year-old girls!
Not that I wanted to see it, I was just expecting it, and I'm happy to be wrong in this regard. Openings and endings is a personal preference most of the time, so I'm not going to say if they were good or bad, but fact is, I watched the opening almost every episode. It was a little different every time, depending on what was going to happen in the episode itself. And endings, they were all different, while being the same at the same time. The idea was to take an art with one of the characters and throw a bunch of effects on top of it, give or take some random scenes. Like that, I finished first season knowing full well that there is a second season and some OVAs waiting for me, but I decided to make a video on this anime first. After a little bit of research, I saw that episode 12 has second version, and that didn't bother me much, because that's not the first time I see something like this. Episodes do change sometimes, maybe some little scene was added or whatever. I couldn't be more wrong about it, because second version of episode 12 is called My Little Sister's Life Counseling Can't End Like This. True root. You can probably already guess what happened, so I'm not gonna go over every single change. We jump straight to the moment where Kirin asks Aniki about life counseling, right after they've played the Eroge about Onii-chan's pants. She brings out the album, and Kyosuke decides against looking into it. Instead, Kirin shows her brother some of the track achievements that she got throughout her journey to get better, and asks for reassurance that he will help protect her collection. This little cute and very comforting conversation was all the life counseling she needed, so they go to sleep. Next morning, she's gone, without telling her brother about it. That's what actually happened, and honestly, I would have been heartbroken in Aniki's place, but he took it like a champ. From here, he just moved on with his life. Episode ended with Kyosuke and Manui walking to school in the new school year, when suddenly we see Kuroneko in the same uniform as those two walking past them.
Ohayou gozaimasu. Senpai?
I don't know the reason behind having two endings. I've tried looking it up, but it's nowhere near the surface. And I'm not diving deep into it, because if I do, I will get spoiled on second season. This is the last thing I want. So, without further ado, we get to the last 3 episodes of the season, which were marked as OVAs, and naturally, I didn't think much of them.
Who the f is Giga nigga? What the f?
But after watching the true ending, I had to check on these 3. As it happens, they're just another 3 episodes, full on 25+ minutes episodes that are a part of season 1. I'll cover them all together, because I think it works just fine. Now with Kirin gone, everything is more lighthearted and just chill in general. Because she was always so annoying and bratty that with her and her hobby out of sight, everyone is just normal. Even her otaku friends Kuroneko and Saori were always more the normal side, if you know what I mean. And in these episodes we mostly follow Kuroneko, Kyosuke and Akagi's little sister. Remember that? Akagi was buying that game for his little sister. She is very quick to show her interest with the help of Aniki. Though I'm not sure why he would trick her like that in front of everyone. By the way, who is everyone, you might ask? Did you ask already? It's a game creation club that these 3 join. Aniki is here to help Kuroneko make friends, because her personality is not of the friendliest, which led her to be a bit of a loner at the start. Kuroneko is spending a lot of the time at Aniki's place now, with Saori often there too, and all 3 of them wonder on why Kirino is yet to contact them since she left almost 3 months ago. Kyosuke is being accused of being Siscon once again, and the reason for that is him helping out and caring much about Kuroneko, as if he's trying to replace his little sister. But he reassures them that he genuinely cares about her for her, and why wouldn't he? They're friends after all. Kuroneko gets to make a game together with Akagi, the little one, and after some trials and tribulations, they get along with each other, work hard together and send their game to the contest. Finally, we get a message from Kirino, and the only thing she has to say is throw my shit away. She sends the same message both to Aniki and their parents, with the only difference being talking about her otaku collection to Aniki and her track and field achievements to parents. The Volgat word is sick, because why the fuck? Why the fuck would she say that after all this time? Kyosuke doesn't know what to do, because they can't contact his sister and the message she sent is concerning.
She's got PTSD or whatever, post-traumatic Down syndrome.
At the same time, Kuroneko messages him to come to the back of the school at a certain time. And you know how it'd be, right? But she's a smart and strong girl, so when she sees Kosuke being a wreck, she doesn't jump the gun. Instead, they have a nice talk about how she felt happy from all the help Aniki provided to her, and tells him exactly what to do. Go to America.
魔界に帰ったわけでも地獄に落ちたわけでもなし、いる場所が分かっていて行く方法があって心配する気持ちを自覚していて。
But just before he leaves...
ちょっと待って。呪いよ。あなたが途中でへたれたら死ぬ呪い。
Hey. Okay, that was cute, but I'm still rooting for Manami. I wondered, how the hell would Bro just go to America right now? Like, yeah, she's not in a spirit realm or whatever, but America seems even further than that. Aniki comes home to see his father and mother arguing about going to America to see their daughter. But Aniki is here and he knows exactly what to say.
親父、俺が行く。
よし、行ってこい。
Hey. Okay, Bro flies all the way to Los Angeles and goes straight to Kirino. She lives in a dorm with other athletes, but for now she's the only one in her room. So brother and sister get to play Eroge about brother and little sister once again. Hey. My bad. They talk a little about her missing favorite games, about family and friends, and after some chit-chat, Aniki asks about those messages of hers. I'm not exactly sure why she wrote what she wrote, but the situation at hand is she set a goal for herself. I'm not going to contact anyone from back home until I beat another athlete on the track. For some it may seem like a silly goal, and it is, but I'm sure many would know the feelings and thoughts behind such a decision. You want to get better in something you love, but it's not exactly working out the way you want it to. So you make up some stupid self-rules that might work out sometimes, but for the majority they turn out to be a burden. Kirino couldn't face the fact that she messed up. She was afraid of calling out her friends and family. So she ended up feeling depressed and sent some weird message to, I think, reach out in her own way. She tried to reach out because she needed help.
でも勝てなかった。みんなには申し訳ないなって思ってるよ。でも言えないじゃん。こんなの他の誰にも。
It's important to understand your limits whatever you do. No need to dread about it or be afraid to try stuff, but when it's time to give up, you just gotta do it. And Kirino wasn't able to. So Kosuke had to be there to convince her to go home, where everyone misses her, where she can keep enjoying her hobbies and spend time with friends, otaku or not. Okay. Honestly, I didn't think that watching this anime and making a video about it would emotionally drain me so much, but it did, and at this point I'm without a doubt attached to this anime and its characters. It has a stupid title and main girl is unbearable at times, but if you spend enough time with someone or something, you naturally feel closer to it, and making this video definitely made me appreciate my little sister can't be this cute to the extent that it deserves. I'm going to watch season 2.